What is going on, my good people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Say That Podcast. And y'all know the drill. Don't say this, say that. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who tuned in to my last episode with Mindflex. It was a great episode. I freaking love those dudes. If you haven't already, go check it out right now. It's available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And if you haven't already, please follow the podcast, say_that_pod on Instagram. My personal Instagram is REPETE617. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube for all new episodes and that cipher. We got a bunch more stuff planned coming up, so make sure you on tap for that. But today, I like to say this with a lot of guests, but I feel like this guest is very encapsulating of that. This is a long-awaited episode, ladies and gentlemen. This guest here today has been putting in work for an extremely long time, and quite frankly, I am very blessed to be interviewing my first Grammy Award-winning artist. So, y'all gotta give a big say that welcome to my man, Caliph. What's going on, my man?
Bro, I'm chilling. Good to see you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Good to see you, too.
Finally get to come here and sit down with you, bro.
No, exactly. So that's why I say, like, you know, a lot of people, it's like, oh, you know, this guy's like, you always say long awaited. Well, because it is. You know, I want to talk to these guys.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's why it's a long awaited episode. You know, I know it's a little different setup than what we used to.
Yeah.
We're a little behind schedule today because the commuter rail and the fucking weather, it's all shit. But you know what?
Yeah.
That's what the greats do. They make fucking do.
Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
Bro, you know?
They make do.
Make do with what you got.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
So you know what I'm saying? Gotta love it. First, like I said, you know, you are a Grammy winner. Yeah. But for a lot of platforms in the city, you are their first Grammy winner that's graced their platform.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of the first thing that people say when they come up to you, like, oh, look at this guy, you know, he won a Grammy. But with you, it's not the whole story. You know, and since winning a Grammy, you have put, Grammys, you have put in copious amounts of work.
Appreciate it.
How have you able to parlay, you know, the work you did, you won the Grammy, and now kind of
like post that, what's
all
next,
just coming into what's next for you.
I mean, since the Grammys, you know, like I was able to sign a deal, fulfill that deal. I got like a distribution deal with Marketing Bucks, which is kind of rare. And I also got to keep my masters. So I think the Grammys affected the kind of deal I was able to get. And it allowed me to kind of put my foot in the door in regards to like the industry itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say this all the time. It's like I went into the draft with a ring already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that Grammy's like a championship. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
a big
like,
stamp that. I love that. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm coming into the draft. And like, you could even tell like some labels were intimidated with the idea of having to cater to an already Grammy Award winning artist. But it was cool. I learned a lot about the industry. And right now for me, I'm a very self-sufficient person. And when I did sign my deal with Sony, shout out to Sony, shout out to the good folks over there, Orchard, they like taught me a lot about the industry. The things that like I was missing in my rollout, the things that were present in my rollout that I didn't know I would have, you know, because labels doing certain things. I learned a lot of that. And now I'm in a phase where like I got a great relationship with Sony. I can go back whenever. I have one of the best lawyers in the industry. I could talk to whatever label, but I'm working on like my own entity and making it something like special so that when I do go back to have these conversations, it's more of a conversation about collaboration and less like me signing to them and signing away my masters and signing a third.
No, because you gotta own all that shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I just care about my art more than like becoming an instant millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I have like longevity in my work, and with that comes the confidence to push it myself, you know?
Right, and I like that because we're in the day of age where like an artist wants it like that. They want it overnight because they see it happen to other people, and I'm like, all right, but you're not going to remember those people in 5-10 years. You're not even going to remember them in 6 months probably.
It's getting worse now. Like people are like leaving faster than they blew up now.
Right,
like they'll blow up. They'll be here for like 6 months off this one record, and then like 2-3 months after that record drops from like the Billboard charts or whatever, no one cares about that person. They're no longer there. No one, and a lot of times, like no shade to anybody, but a lot of those quick burn records, they burn out just as fast because it was just like a banger for the moment, which is fire. But like, I'm trying to make music to entertain
you know what
forever.
songs like that? What the hell? That's like a quick.
But Rob 49's actually a good rapper.
Is he?
Because
I mean that's my first introduction to him, so I don't know. And I think it's a bad song. I'm just gonna be honest.
I got put on to a couple by a couple of homies, and I like his rap style. That's his most commercial record. Like
Right.
it's definitely like a commercial
That's
approach.
a big TikTok audio type
and it
thing.
blew up
right?
because like at the end of the day, there are different types of genius. Clearly, it's genius to a good amount of people, and that's why it blew up. But outside of that, check out his music. He
Okay.
actually can flow and rap for real. Like he's a good rapper.
And that's what I don't want, and that's what I feel like a lot of people do is they just hear that one song, they think he's a bad rapper. So it's good to know that he has, a bill of confidence from other people that, this guy's actually good.
Both ways. Sometimes you hear that one single that blows up and you're like, this dude's great. And then the album comes and it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
we're all humans, bro. One thing you do I might agree with, the next thing I don't.
Of course,
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy shit,
how it
right,
goes.
exactly. But like how you're saying, you're not on social media, you don't really like it, which I think is so admirable because of how good of an artist you are. That a lot of people's lives depend on social media.
Yeah.
And it's fucking nuts. But if look at this TikTok ban, right? I think it's still in the works, whatever the fuck it is. If that went away for a lot of people, that's it. You don't know about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's why I love artists like yourself where you don't need that. You don't need it's a good tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
But everything outside of it is what's kind of important.
Yeah,
for
everything outside. For me specifically, I grew up an internet kid. I
course.
code, I know all that stuff, right? A reason why I don't appreciate social media is because I know the code behind it. I know the reasons behind it. I know what the goal is and the algorithm, why it works, why certain things you say will clip you from growing as an artist or this, that, and the third. You put a link in your bio now and you put any links on IG, they're throttling you. It's just little things that you know that allow you to actually use it as a tool and use it less as just somebody on it. You know what I mean? Right. And granted, I will say this, I am a person who doesn't appreciate it, but because I had to use it so much early on, there was a period where I felt like I was addicted to it. So the reason I'm able to say now is because I actually worked on getting away from social media and only having it become something that I use as a tool.
People gotta learn from you. I'm just going to say,
you have to, bro.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Shout out to the Ramadan, because the thing about me is every year I have a month to reset my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? As a Muslim, so
of course.
When I fast, there are certain things that I choose to fast from. Social media is one of those things because I kind of can't be on there seeing a bunch of things while I'm fasting, and it works in my advantage because it almost has this reverse effect where people think they have to stay on, but when you disappear for a little bit, then you come back. It's yo, I want to hear more from you. I haven't heard from you. I haven't seen anything. So it kind of has the human effect rather than the algorithmic effect.
Right. Because growing up in a Catholic household, certain holidays, there is the only thing you really have to give up as a Catholic is no meat on Fridays during Lent.
Yeah, during Lent.
Or Lent in general, where you just give up one thing.
Yeah.
And then because going through Catholic school from preschool to 8th grade, that's just what you were taught. So this was
I went to Catholic school too.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
I know the vibes.
Right, exactly. But as you speaking on you being a Muslim, that's the one thing that is very evident in your music. You make it very proud, and I honestly have to say that is so admirable, and I applaud you so much for that because it not only tells people who you are as a person, but it's what do you stand for? What are you proud of? What do you, you're very devout, and not only with music, but in your religion, and it just, as someone who is not a Muslim and kind of needs to get closer in his religion, it's very almost inspirational. It's
that's the whole goal, bro. The whole goal is to inspire people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As far as Islam goes, it's just always been my religion since I was a kid. I grew up with a Catholic mother and grandmother, and then my dad being Muslim. I adopted Islam, and then just kind of it's been what it is for me, right? And my parents, both sides, never forced any religions on me. It was just yo, these are the religions that we were brought up with. Have a relationship with God type of thing. Cool. In high school, I got into it a lot deeper and tried to learn more about myself through my religion. You know what I mean? And it's really just all about intentions and discipline. And I think when you follow the rules within Islam, for me personally, it helps me with my outside life, everyday life. And also, it's when you're a Muslim, there are certain things you have to keep up. And we live in a generation where it's almost looked at as if you're a Muslim, you can't be a part of everyday life because you have to be this devout person, right? I think people seeing an artist openly expressing his or her or their belief, and then also being able to be this artist that could speak on everyday things, shows people that, you know, they could follow a faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it makes sense for you and you're being called to it, go to that. You don't have to be perfect for it to work. Perfect, you know, exactly. So it's almost like, I'm almost like this imperfect Muslim that's in your face. Like, yo, like, but I love, you know, my religion.
Well, and also that's the core of, you know, a lot of religions is God forgives, Allah forgives.
Exactly.
It's like, you know.
Exactly. It's the same
You're
thing,
not looking, because, you know, me having tattoos, I've had like that thing of like, even, you know, having religious tattoos, it's like,
I'm hip.
oh, you know, they're a sin, but it's like, that was never taught to me in, you know, from we called it K1 to 8th grade.
To 8th grade, yeah.
So, to me, you're like making it up and can't realize that nobody is perfect, even if you are this devout of a religious person.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The whole point is to find forgiveness and to seek for, not only to find it, but to seek it and to be forgiven. Yes. So it's like, you know, you're not murdering somebody, you know, you have flaws as a human that you get forgiven for. Yeah. And it just blows my mind how in the political climate we're in, that just gets so lost on people.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, you know, like, obviously, like what's going on right now.
Of course. You know, at the time of this recording, unfortunately, the United States has bombed Iran, and personally, I feel like, you know, Islamophobia is gonna start up again. Yeah. I mean, it already pretty much has ever since, you know, it's always been around, but with events like, you know, the war in Palestine and like all this stuff, it's just now there's something about, and I don't understand this. Why people are so, like, they just slander the Muslim religion so much. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think it's miseducation.
I think it's a lot of that.
I think humans are naturally afraid of things that they are not used to.
Right.
Like, we yearn for change, but in small increments. Right. When something comes and it's like, this is different, the first initial reaction is, I don't rock with this. Right. You know what I mean? And when it's generationally taught to people to not rock with this without knowing why, some people just follow suit, you know what I mean, out of respect for their parents, respect for their church, respect for their leaders. They're like, yo, our leaders say these people are bad, I'm just gonna listen. But we live in an era where the internet exists. We live in an era where you can literally talk to a robot, chat GPT,
it's not the Stone Age,
get educated.
Bro. Right.
You can educate yourself where this comes from. I don't think there's a lot of like hate in the world, but like if you educate yourself, I don't think you can hate anything because you understand how similar they are at the core, and like how it's literally like, I don't want to turn this to a religious convo, but like, the core of it is like the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Abrahamic religions, right? It's me, you, and the guy that came here to set this up. Right. It's like the three people had the same exact day, wrote about that day from three different perspectives.
Right.
It's because a lot of the stories overlap.
Right.
But it's just different perspectives of the same stories.
Of course.
How am I going to argue that? The day is still the same. It's still today. Right. It's still the same story. Today. So it's like, I don't care what you are. You just got to be a good person to me.
Of course. I mean? Right. And you know, as you know, you've dropped "Immigrant of the Year" in the past. You know, it's one of your better albums of work, and you know that kind of perspective in the story you told throughout that. I think a lot of younger immigrants who are also Muslim or coming from whatever country, you know, they have to hear that in a voice where, well, I shouldn't say in a voice, but in a time in the music industry where it's better to make like the pop stuff or like the stuff that's gonna pop. It's like they don't want to hear the stories anymore. No. They want to hear, you know, the trendy stuff. But so with all that, what would you like your message be to those young immigrants, you know, either coming into this country facing a tough time as they have heard your music and more importantly this album that you put out, you know, a couple years ago?
It's really like I made that album for like the 15-year-old version of me who like looked at the world and saw that like no matter how great he or she, no matter how great he was, like he was told he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, he couldn't do that because he was this, this, and this, right? So the idea of that album is to like go from like, you know, the concept is in America being the immigrant of the year is kind of like, we don't get rewarded.
No, right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like me saying like, yo, you can be that every year. Like every year you can be the top immigrant in your mind. You know what I mean? Since they want to put us in this group, well, let's be the best versions of this. You know what I mean? Like you could be a ball player, you could play in the streets all day, but you don't.
We don't get to a ball player in a minute,
you know what I mean? But let's go to the next thing. Okay, you're an immigrant. Okay, cool. You're just a regular immigrant. Or you could be the immigrant of the year. in your own mind. The idea is to just give confidence back to people that I feel like were stripped of their confidence.
Of course.
Like, you come to America, you're one of these things that America doesn't approve of.
Right.
You know, the overall idea of America doesn't approve of.
Right.
You start feeling like slighted in certain places, certain spaces because of who you are, what you represent.
Right.
And somebody like me, I'm very open-minded, but I'm also very vocal about what I believe.
As you should be, absolutely.
So being that, you can rub people the wrong way, this, that, and the third. My existence as a whole, I feel like rubs certain people the wrong way. So
you're literally to the white Christian conservative.
Yeah.
You're like the Antichrist, which is fucking crazy.
No, it pretty much is. I used to make a joke. I used to say like, and it's unfortunate that we can make these kind of jokes, but like, I'm black, I'm an immigrant, I'm Muslim. If I was a woman and also homosexual on top of that, I'd have everything that you should.
Legitimately.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure there is a black immigrant Muslim, like, you know, like homosexual woman that exists in the world. And I'm sure she feels a certain way about how the world sees her, right? And I think the world lies to us. I think like at the core of who you are as a person, it doesn't matter what you are, it's who you are, right?
Of course.
So this album, the idea of Immigrant of the Year, the idea of pushing that idea of like being a black immigrant Muslim in America, it's like, yo, whatever one of these, two of these, all three of these that you are, or three of these plus whatever else, that's a label put on you. You wasn't born that. You were born a human being, and we're humans first. So it's like, just be great. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
and you know, the best advice I've ever gotten from that, in my undergrad at LaSalle, I had taken this class that, regrettably, I should have paid a lot more attention to, but I was fucking living at college. I was fucking man, all that bullshit. It was, I had a black professor who, his point was that, like, you're talking to me right now, and, like, we're not thinking of each other's race. Like, it's like, it was kind of like the psychology of labeling somebody, where it's like, why this just word that you just put on this person, now there's a barrier. Like, I get, okay, that happened, you know, in the 1100s through whatever, the 1700s. That's not that time anymore, you know. The world has to progress towards being accepting of other people if we want to actually continue as a human race as a whole.
Even me personally, I'm glad you mentioned the label thing, because me personally, after Immigrant of the Year, I was essentially done with those labels. Why? Because yes, it's a part of who I am, but I already talked about it. Right? And I think like after Immigrant of the Year, that label was put on me like, yeah, LIPH's gonna be like the immigrant artist. He's gonna do, and of course like that coming after the Grammys from an album about immigration, like a political album, right? Then you go from that, and then you make your own album with that message. It's almost like people just expect you to keep going down that train. But nah, that's like a part of my story. I'm a human being.
Of course. Absolutely.
I'm not a perfect devout Muslim. Yes, I try to be on my deen as much as I can, but I'm not perfect. And I think I know that's my message to people. If you're a Muslim and you listening to me, I want you to feel comfortable with your imperfections enough to have confidence to work on them rather than just bash yourself for them. Because the whole world's constantly bashing you. Oh, you're like this, but you're not Muslim enough. You're not Muslim enough. You're not black enough. You're not African enough.
You're never enough for some
exactly.
people.
It's like almost like your race is a jack of all races or all categories and groups. When in reality, you're not enough of these things because you're the most of yourself. Be you. Like, I'm me first before any of these categories. So now I'm actually stepping away from being this like immigrant artist and this, that, and the third. It's like, yo, I told y'all that story so you can understand the basis of who I am.
Of course.
Now, every time you'll hear other music, I'll mention being Muslim. I'll mention being an immigrant. I'll mention this, that, and the third. But it's not the core reason for the song, or you know what I'm saying. Now it's like, okay, what does it look like for the Muslim immigrant kid to go to the club? What does that experience look like?
Right. I love it because,
you know what I mean?
And you know, not to call you a jack of all trades, but it's just a lot of perspectives that people have to hear. You know, because they don't hear it in the everyday music. They don't, and it's just unfortunate that this type of music isn't like at the forefront of stuff. Because, you know, while, you know, club music's all that good, all that stuff, people still gotta feel. You know, you still gotta feel. I have been spoken for many a times. You know, I'm white, I'm fucking, you know, I'm straight. There's a million artists like that. But what we need is more music that relates to the ones that aren't, because everybody has to feel. Music's the great uniter. So if there's an album or an artist or a song that makes a certain demographic that doesn't really get talked about a lot, and their experience don't get talked about a lot, feel the way they feel, you bring that in. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And that's what kind of makes, and that's what people got to understand, making the music world go around. It's like, yes, you know, what we're saying right now may not get through to a lot of people, but it's like, you got to hear it.
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to.
I mean, it's just about spreading a message, man,
and that's what you do beautifully with your music. I gotta
appreciate
tell
it.
you that.
It comes naturally. Like, I know, I don't feel it when I make an empty song. Like, I call them empty songs, like songs that have no like goal, no like concept or point, right? It's an empty song to me. I don't do well with those, like myself. Like when I hear an empty a song, cool. Oh, this is a banger. This is fire, cool. I'm not really listening to that again, because it's a moment of a song, right? I try to give people a balance. I have songs where I know I'm making that moment, and I have songs where I know you're gonna come back to this record 3, 4, 5 times, pick up new bars, pick up new meanings, understand this part of the story more, and that's like more of a moment, more than a moment, right? So I just dance within all that, bro. Like I'll make the club song, you know, but you'll go back and listen, be like, wait, he said this bar. After like 5th listen, yo, he said this bar. Try to like give longevity to my music like that with the songwriting and stuff.
And speaking of one of your hits, at the time of this recording, we are a day away from the NBA draft.
Yes.
And in doing your research, obviously, if you know you dropped a hit in Cooper Flagg. Named after the young baller out of Maine. Yeah. But one thing you did, which I thought was dead cool, is you did like a puzzle of lyrics for the song to kind of, you know, to me that says you're trying to gauge engagement.
Yeah.
But also like you're also making your songs interactive. So kind of, before we get into the draft talk, about Cooper Flagg, because he deserves a little shine.
For sure.
Where did that idea come from? Because that's so different that I literally have never seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people may not know this, but I do graphic web design and web development, right?
Coding, all that stuff.
Coding, all that. So to me, it was about how do I get people to interact with these lyrics in an era that lyrics aren't like, kind of like they're just coming back as important in the industry, right? And like, how do I do it differently? The typical thing is you drop a song, you drop the music video, you drop the lyric video, and then that's where people get the lyrics, and you upload your lyrics to Genius, and you upload your lyrics to the DSP so people can see the lyrics. But I was like, all right, cool, I can do all that. But these lyrics, like, I put time and effort into. And I think like the more people understand these lyrics, the more they'll appreciate the song. So I was like, all right, let me see if I could flip like a word puzzle into something, right? Yeah. So then I coded it myself. Like I put the music video up, I put like a tooltip that has like tools that have like clues for each word. Yeah. And then like just the songs with the specific words missing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that allowed me to like now pick and choose specific words that'll make you understand the bar better or understand what I'm actually overall saying better, right? So yeah, it was fun. And it's like some people played it, and like when you play it at the end, you get a reward of another music video. Some people have made it to that, and they're like, oh, when is this dropping? I'm like, oh, you made it. Because it's like a whole different. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, like if you play that game, when you get to the end of that game, it opens another page. It gives you a link to another page where you get a preview of another music video.
That's so just because, like I said, you know, when we were talking off camera, just the generation we're in, stuff has to be interactive. Yeah. But I feel like stuff has to be interactive in a way that's like good. Yeah. Like, you know, because I don't know, because that puzzle thing that you did for Cooper Flagg, it reminded me of a site called Sporkle. I don't know if you ever played Sporkle. It's basically like a quiz site where it's got all these different like quizzes in different forms. It's like, you know, one of the most popular ones when I was in 7th grade. The whole class in one sitting, they were like, name every Big Four American sports team. And it was like that type of shit. So it was just so fun and stuff like that. But like, when you get someone to do that with your own music, that's like, that like makes it better. Because when I tell you, I literally have never seen anybody do that before. I feel like people, you know, not to say they should jack your flow, but if you're trying to like...
Just come holler at me, I'll make it for you. Exactly. That's another thing too, like, you know, I'm an artist. I'm a rapper, singer, songwriter. That's the first thing that I do. That's my main thing. Right. But like, it's 2025. Like, you can be great at multiple things. You know what I mean? And like, I do web development for other artists. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Cave just dropped.
Shout out to Cave, man.
Shout out to Cave. That's my brother. Dropped Jungle Juice. If you haven't heard that, go bang that. I worked on that with him. Not the music, the rollout with the website. I created the website for him. Right. Yeah, like. It's interesting because, like, for example, Cave helped me make the Ramadan Flow video. right? Which was like a D2C thing. We worked on that together. Then he did his D2C thing. I helped him with his website. That's another thing about being able to do more than just your main discipline.
Absolutely.
You can create community. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
my brother in this.
Of course,
thing,
and you know, again, like yourself, just another amazing artist in this shit. You know what I mean?
But yeah, we can make all these. We can make all these little tools to make your music more interactive.
Right.
Come holla at me, man. I do that. You know.
You know, and because it's just, I'm trying to say this in a way that makes sense because I was thinking of this earlier. Like, obviously, you know, you making a puzzle being interactive, but like, there's just like the basic level of interactiveness. If like, even if you're a content creator, whatever, is basically, you know, all right, come up with, you know, a catchy reel, come up with whatever the fuck, and post that. Then I feel like the second one's like, oh, give your opinion on like a top 5, like, basketball players of all time, or some shit like that. Like, it's not, it doesn't get people thinking. It just gets people like to either agree with you or disagree with you. But if I'm actually trying to figure out lyrics to someone's songs and I get rewarded with that, I feel like I made a better connection to that person than I did just agreeing or disagreeing with his or her opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I mean, you spend more time with the music. You spend more time interacting with this thing that said person put out, right?
Now, the Cooper Flagg lyrics, are they on Genius or no?
No, they're nowhere but there.
Okay, good. That's okay. That's what I thought, because that's what I love.
Yeah.
You know,
see, like I'm in this phase, man, where like I'm reclaiming all those like shout out to the platform. They're amazing, right? But as an artist, I want you to come to my website, my page, as my own hub for all my stuff. You want lyrics? Here's this experience for lyrics. You want this? Here's that experience for this, that, and the third. I know we plan on talking about the free LIPH.
Yeah.
That's like been set to come out.
Yeah.
That's actually why it hasn't come out, because I'm creating like this whole world of like experiences for each record and so on and so forth. And I'm like almost done with that part. The music has been done for a little bit. I think I have like a couple more records that I want to finalize.
Right.
But the real reason why I kind of put a pause in things, I have another project dropping soon. And then that's coming as like the bigger like,
okay,
here's this experience.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
This is why, like, you know, artists gotta learn from you. Like you, like, and I know we talked about this again off camera, but it's got to be said on camera, as you mentioned him, Cave's Jungle Juice. Like, I feel like I was on that journey with him.
Absolutely.
How interactive he made it, how hyped he was to make it, how you could see he had such a great time making it, and how important it is for him. And that's what I'm getting with this free LIPH stuff. You know, it's like, oh my God, you want to make a world for each track. I hope there's 15 tracks, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I'm excited to like actually dive into it. And I think that's what you're doing a good job of. It's like, hey, like, you know, it's not just listening to music. Like, come, like, you know, sit down here. Let's dig deeper. Let's have this like interactive story that you can go through. Because in this digital age, that's the shit you got to do. And then once you do it better than next time.
Yeah, literally. And that's the whole thing. Is like, I've been building these games, and I've been building, like, bro, it's crazy. The last like 2 years, man, I've been just like spending a lot of time like doing things outside of music that's going to help like me stand out in music. You know what I mean? We're going in the D2C world. Like, streaming is cool, but streaming isn't a great way for artists to get paid. You gotta go direct to consumer.
It's unfortunately nothing now.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I did Ramadan Flow, I usually play with the element of surprise, right? Like, it was like, oh, Ramadan Flow is a song dropping next week. Okay, cool. Then I'm like, yo, actually, I got a video coming with the song. All right, cool. And I'm like, yo, actually, the song is on DSPs, but I got a whole EP with the video on this website, but all I need from you to access it is your email.
Right.
Bro, I didn't expect it to go like this, bro. Got up to like 300 emails in like 3 weeks, 304, like, it was just like, whoa.
Wow.
I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Back to the algorithm. These platforms' jobs is to get you to pay them to use their services.
Right.
But they have you on there for free, and then they throttle you. My experience as somebody on social media, I almost was convinced that I didn't have as many fans as I actually do have. So when I did this rollout, I was able to see instantly how many not super fans, because they're not technically paying for something, but they gave an email to access my music.
Personal information.
That's personal information, which makes you enough of a fan to put in effort to do something to get what I have to offer. What I have to offer. So that being the case, I was like, all right, cool. I'm doubling down on this. I'm getting even crazier with this, and I have this whole plan, whole rollout.
Oh,
you know,
man.
it's crazy. Excuse me.
You just do such a good job of building excitement.
I try to. It's funny because to me, I don't think because I do this disappearing act too in the midst of like, yo, I'm about to drop. Yo, Leaf, you said you was dropping this in 2 months. I'm like, yeah, but like I just added to it.
Right.
Yo, I just added to it. Yo, I just added this to it, and like that's why like it's like interesting to have these conversations because I get to like speak to people and let them know like, hey, trust me, there's a reason why this is taking a little longer. You know what I mean? And I got another project to give you just because this took a little longer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just have fun with it, bro. Like,
and you can tell, like, you know, you can take shit seriously. I'm not judging anybody who does. You should. But the moment it stops being fun for a lot of people is where you can tell they lose interest and they're like, like they set these goals for themselves that like, and I'm a victim of this. When I first started podcasting, I'm like, all right, we're gonna have, let's just say, 500 subscribers on YouTube, this, that, and the thing, bro. I'm at 350 right now on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what I feel like. We're talking about these algorithms. That's what they design for you to like kind of fall out of love with it to prove like who still wants to stick around. Yeah. And.
That's a part of it, yeah.
And
the proving part is definitely a huge part of it.
It's just like, because it does this thing like, I'll watch one video about a dog, right? And then my explore page is all that. Like, bro, I just watched one vid. Like, but if I do that about like a local artist, it doesn't. Yeah. Which is like, come the fuck on. Like,
because it's the combination of you looking for something and these entities paying for anybody that's looking for this. Wow. Right, so now what gets lost in between are the people that are genuinely just posting their art. Right. And now what happens is this: somebody will come with a whole new approach on social media, post that, it blows up, then brands attach themselves to that. Now whenever that comes up, it goes directly to the brands. So like the person the average person in between, you know what I mean? It's like, and like they change these algorithms all the time too, so that they can keep, But it's like, all right, cool. You're telling me that if I go to this one big building that has trillions of people in it, right? It's so hard because how big that building is, it's so hard for one person to find my one apartment in this trillion building, building, right? That's social media, right? Okay, cool. I'm gonna leave this building, build a house across the street, and all I'm gonna keep doing to your building is I'm gonna turn on all the Christmas lights all year. and everybody in that building, I may not be in that building, but they keep looking like, yo, why is that lit over there? Yo, let me go to the LIPH site. Bang. You know what I mean? You get everything that you need to get. Like, that's the whole thing for me, man.
That's one of the best like comparisons or like expressions I've ever heard for someone to think about. Like, yo, you just that could have been a bar almost or something. I don't know if you can work any music.
No, I'll try to. I mean, I think in bars, man. Honestly, I think in bars, like
well, because I heard you on High Street and just like the thought process of how you like, you were writing for that show and you were just like in the corner, like, thinking, and you didn't even write it down. You just spit it out.
Yeah, just like it's just like. For me, it's interesting. When I say this to people, it's like a eureka moment. They're like, no way, you're so lyrical. You say all these things that like, they go to the next thing. Like, how could you just do that without writing it? And like, for me, honestly, it's just I've been making music for so long. And like I said on there, like, bro, I lost so many notes before iCloud.
I heard that whole story. That was good.
If I lose my head, cool. I'll be gone with it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like, the whole thing about that is it comes from that. But at the end of the day, I also learned through that process that it made me a better songwriter. Like, I may have like, some people may think like, oh, he dumbed down a little bit. No, I got better at writing songs in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because the fluff is gone. The extra bars are gone because you have to focus on what you're trying to say. And then you can get creative in that space. You create a box in your head. It's a whole thing, man. I feel like it made me a better writer. I feel like I'm following along the lines of like some of the greatest writers.
Of course.
And like I could see why when Wayne made the transition from going from writing on paper to doing it in his head, he became the Wayne that we know, right? And to be honest, like I felt like when I started writing in my head, I became less of a battle rapper, just rapper, punchline rapper, and more of a songwriter. You know what I mean? And it made me a better artist. So
and I love it. I love every minute of it. You know what I mean? Appreciate it's awesome. But all right, let's get into the nitty gritty about our dog Cooper Flagg. Local guy. I mean, obviously not to mass, but he's a New England guy.
Bro.
The New England guy. We all right. We all. I remember people saying like, why is he your boy? I'm like, bro, because Maine's right there.
Yeah.
Maine's an hour away. Like, I don't care.
And it's like, okay, so Maine could be a part of New England Patriots, but me being a
exactly, that's a great point, right?
Like, nah, bro, it's an area, a region, and we are a very proud region.
Exactly.
So when we have something to be proud of, we're very proud of it.
Him and DeMonsa, bro. I'm excited.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
bro.
saying? But, you know, tomorrow's the day. Like I said, the time of recording is June 24th, 2025. You know, he's obviously going to the Mavs. I think he's the consensus number one. But it's just, how good is he going to do in the league?
I think he's going to do good in the league. I think his first year...
Like his ceiling. Like what? Like his ceiling. Because that's what a lot
I don't see one.
I don't see one either.
This is how I feel, right? I feel like, and you can quote me on this, I feel like this is America's first, like, version of, like, you know how, like, the white guys come from Europe and they're like, you get, like, a Jokic, right? This is America's, like, that.
Yeah.
Like, a non-black player that's a star. Like, you know, in the NBA, you know, mostly the stars are black, so on and so forth, right? But, like, as of late, it's like the Jokic's. Right. And then you have Luka, right?
Right.
I think this is America's version of those guys.
Okay.
Like, the American, like the guy that's like a Porzingis type of guy, like, comes in, like, because, like, you know, for the longest time, it's been black superheroes, right? Like, I mean, superstars, right? Some of us look at them as superheroes.
No,
but
right, of course.
Cooper Flagg is, like, going to be one of, like, the first all-American superstars to me. Like, and I don't think he has a ceiling. Like, I think he's going to define the game in his own way. Because I think, like, for his position, he's super agile. Yeah. And, like, he got the attitude of, like, a Sean Kemp, bro.
He does.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because, see, that's what I like. I like a player who's... Like how, you know, we said on the train right over here, you know, they're all buddy-buddy, but it's like him, it's like Draymond, for example. You're a Warriors fan, you know, he talked the most shit.
Shout out my dog Draymond.
Is he a
I got a
star?
love-hate with this guy.
Not really, but he's like, you know, all-star, serviceable player that, you know, you want on the team.
Captain of the team type of guy,
right.
You know?
Cooper Flagg's like the superstar, but he's the talking shit superstar, you know. I'll give KD this. I'll give KD this. He talks a lot of shit on Twitter, and it's funny as fuck, right? Yeah. Do it in person. Yeah. Like, come on, like let's make these games gotta keep meaning something. Yeah. The Thunder championship, bro. I gotta be honest. I'm not even trying to be a hater. It's just so swaggerless and so like there's just like it's gonna be one of the, like those things where like someone says like, oh, name every champion of the 2020s. You name everything and like. Which one am I forgetting? It's like, oh yeah, the Thunder. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. Like, you know, there's not a lot of like, there wasn't a lot of like oomph. Like, you know, there. If the Pacers had won, there would have been because you know that's the underdog. That's like, but with the
like
Thunder,
winning with the star falling in the first quarter, like with a crazy injury.
Exactly.
That's actually the biggest story of that. Of those finals. Halliburton is still the biggest story of these last finals.
The Pacers tweet of saying "Get well, Halliburton" got more likes than the Thunder's tweets of them saying we're NBA champs. Yeah, like come on, man.
There's storytelling.
Right.
The story is told
right.
Now what happens is Hallie comes back and gets a chip a year or two from now. Then it's like it's huge.
Right.
Because like the story's like, yo, he came from Game 7.
Right.
And now look what he's doing. You know what I mean? And I think SGA has his own version of that story. But SGA, he was like the guy that like no one really thought would be who he is. Yeah. So now that he is that, we gotta get used to that. Like he's like last year SGA was nasty. Right. The year before that he was nasty. The year before that he was nice.
On the Clips he wasn't really that great.
But this year, like it changed.
It's one of the best NBA seasons ever.
So
accolades-wise.
It's like a quick rise in a moment, right? Now it's like sustain that. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
See, my thing with SGA is, and I should like it because I'm a Kentucky hoops fan. Mm-hmm. So I even have his college jersey.
Yeah, which is fire.
SGA to me, how they push, like, it just seems so manufactured. You know, he was getting, like, all the commercials. He's getting, like, but it's like, it just seemed like they did this, like, aura argument where he had aura and Tatum didn't. And it's like, I don't even know what the fuck y'all talk about at this point. Like,
yeah, I don't know about the aura argument because that's all dependent on who's looking for that aura.
Right, exactly. But SGA himself, he feels like the popular kid at school that, like, you have to like, and if you don't like it, it's like, why don't you like this guy? Like, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got a great PR team.
Yeah, that's right. He does.
I think it's like the perfect marriage of everything. I don't want to take away from how great he is as a player because of that. But I don't disagree with you. Right. I feel like it just worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he has more aura than certain players. But like, I just feel like he's one of those top aura players.
Bro, all these phantom calls you give him, he legitimately, I used to think they gave LeBron calls. This is nothing compared to SGA. You can't breathe on this guy. It's just so bad for the game, and I think that's part of the reason why no one. To be fair, no one really cares who wins a title unless like you're the fan of that team. Maybe if you're an all-time franchise like the Celtics, Lakers, or Warriors, okay, yeah. But like if you're just this new team like the Thunder are, this is their first title in history. We're not counting the Sonics title.
Yeah, because
that doesn't count. Yeah. That's Seattle. That ended in 2007 when they moved to Oklahoma City. This is the first OKC title. So it's just people don't care, and I think it just with the foul baiting and like all the shit throughout the whole season that everybody clearly saw, people were just like, "Fuck this!" Like this sucks.
I think a part of it is like we give excuses to the big stars that get the calls, right? Because we're used to them being the big stars for the last 5-10 years, right? The league has transitioned to catering to the stars, and I think SGA is one of the first stars that's catching that catering energy early. Yeah. So we're like, why is he getting this already? Right. Because there's like this unwritten thing in the NBA. After a while, you're a star. 5-10 years of being a star, you get those calls. Right. SGA is one of those guys that's getting those calls now. Right.
It was immediate this season. It was like first 5 games of the season.
I swear. I feel like the NBA was banking on Tatum, SGA, and what's the why am I forgetting his name? Edwards. Right?
Anthony Edwards. Yeah.
Those 3 guys potentially being the new faces of the league, right? And they were dancing back and forth to see who it was going to be, you know? I think when Tatum didn't get the MVP last year,
I think he should have.
It tainted that for him, right? He you know what I mean? Like, you can't be the face if you didn't get.
That's exactly like Curry. Like people used to hold Curry not getting the Finals MVP against. I'm like, that award just it doesn't hold as much weight as people think.
But you know people are going to say what they say, bro.
Right.
That's the one. You know why people bring that up? That's the one true, real blemish
on his career.
As a superstar. Right. Like he got 4 rings and only one
first unanimous MVP. Yeah. Like
the only person to have unanimous MVP. First or only. I don't think it's happened since.
I don't think it's happened since. No.
So like the only person to do that. Right. Won every other MVP, every other award possible for him as a player to win. Then this one award that he didn't get 3 out of 4 times. Right. You're like, yeah, bro, like he's not the guy.
He won 3 rings.
Bro,
what the fuck?
First off, bro, dude took a pay cut for KD to come. That's ultimate leadership. This is 25. People is trying to get their bag, bro. Right. If you're doing that, bang. Then on top of that, you take a back seat offensively because you know you have a KD. Right. I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to keep it a buck, bro. I'm on the court and I'm balling. I know I can get to the rack, and I got somebody who's better than me to get into the rack. Or just as good as me. Right. We're splitting this now. Of course. Bang. So it's like that's what being a true leader is. Yeah, he didn't get MVP in the traditional sense, but he's the MVP of even KD being there. Right. How can you even get KD there without this guy taking a pay cut?
Absolutely right. And that's coming from someone who lost to the Warriors in the finals. Like you know what I mean?
Like you gotta be real with yourself, bro.
Right. You know exactly and. I think it's just crazy the standards we hold these players to, but I also kind of get it because we know what they're capable of that.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
We've seen it before. Yeah, of course.
But and with people like, for example, Tatum is some guy like we see it, and then like there's moments of doubt. Then he goes higher than he was before the moments of doubt. And then he comes back and he's higher than that, and it's like one of those like he keeps doing this, and people are like, "Yo, what's going on with this guy?" But in reality, that's his journey.
Right. It's just, but people are gonna forget this, and I gotta keep reminding them. Before literally the game he went down, he was keeping us in it. He was gonna win us the game. He had 39 points. He was going for like 50, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah, bro.
Like so, that's what just people don't realize about Tatum is yes, his trajectory is a lot of up and down, but like he's still. The numbers wise in the playoffs, like in his age range of like all time players,
age specifically,
his age specifically, he's number 1. Like, are we serious? What? Just because like, and I remember Colin Cowherd was saying this. And I fucking hate this guy. He's like, oh, you see LeBron, you see the smoke, you see Magic, the smile with Tatum, you don't see anything. Why does he need a gimmick to be a good player? Why does he need a thing like that? He doesn't.
That's what they value though,
which is so stupid.
Now, all right. Let's do that same exact conversation. Right. And we're talking about SGA, right? Yeah. SGA has no blemishes, really. Right. He kind of has like this perfect look to him, this perfect vibe to him, right? Excuse me. He's a stylish person for one. On top of that, he's like humble kid from Canada, right? And then on top of that, he's a leader of a young new team, right? the NBA almost learned from Tatum.
Yeah.
For SGA to exist.
As fucked up as that sounds, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Tatum, as much as people don't want to hear it, Tatum, he's getting the same BS that Curry got. Because, Curry's killing it. It's still the Bron era.
Right.
Every time he meets Bron, he wins more than Bron won.
Right.
But it's still the Bron era. Same amount of rings. It's the Bron era. I get it. I know what LeBron does, and I know how amazing LeBron is as a basketball player. A lot of my homies think I'm a Bron hater. No, I'm just realistic about everything. From the lens of being a Curry fan. I'm not going to lie that I'm a Curry fan.
Exactly.
This dude, it's the same thing. They'll give Luka mad credit that they don't give Tatum. The same way they give LeBron mad credit that they don't give Curry.
Thank you.
You see, like, to me,
my God,
and all four players are great, but to me, the way you see the comparisons of like a Luka, how they talk about him versus how they talk about Tatum.
They talk about him like he's Jesus.
It's the same thing about talking about LeBron versus talking about Curry.
Right.
But Curry and Tatum keep proving, like, yo, I'm here, bro. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because it's the same thing, right? Jaylen Brown got the MVP.
Yeah.
So Jaylen Brown is Iguodala now, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
In a way, right, exactly.
It's starting, right? Okay, you got the injury. Curry had the injuries 2 years down.
Yeah.
Let's come back. Let's get crazy, right? We're going to see how it pans out. But it's like, you know, it's just about branding, bro, now. Like, it's like, is this guy good for branding? You know what I'm saying? One thing that he did that I think made him get this, like, negative vibe is when he dunked on Braun and celebrated on him.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, what's crazy is that was his rookie year, so it's like, he's not gonna? Like, you gotta do that.
No, I don't blame him for doing that, but the league was like, yo, you're
a little too much dip on your chip.
Yeah, and also he compares himself to Kobe a lot, which is one thing you don't really want to do. You don't want to compare yourself to anybody because even if you don't think it's that serious, this is what you're doing. You're putting yourself to where that person is in everybody's mind, and now we're expecting to see that every time. You are not Kobe. There will never be another Kobe.
Right.
And there will also never be another Tatum. We need you to be the most Tatum you could be.
Right.
Stop doing the Kobe text.
Exactly.
Yo, bro, lock in, bro.
Right.
Worry about Deuce. Feel me?
Seriously.
Like, I need you to lock in.
He's got another kid now. Worry about both of them.
Yeah,
like,
but
you know.
just in general, like, be Tatum.
Right.
Like, I feel like,
absolutely.
You know, like, this you know, it's all, there are so much things that go into, like, deciding why said fan likes or doesn't like said person that people fail to realize it's more than just a talent. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Curry deals with a lot of stuff because he comes from a rich family. He comes from an NBA family.
No,
right?
it's literally his
he didn't
father.
struggle, right? And then LeBron, like, dad's not there.
Right.
So it's like, that's kind of like
the streets of Akron. Like,
that's kind of like, they're like, yo, but Bron came from this to this, and I think a lot of people from our communities identify more with a Bron than they do a Curry. So Curry almost looks like a privileged basketball player. So it's hard to support that guy. That's what I think the real thing is. You know what I'm saying?
I won't disagree with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But last thing I want to kind of say about Tatum and Kobe, I just feel, you know, literally like the months leading up to Kobe passing, Tatum was working out with him, so it was like, all right, you know, this is legit my childhood, literally my childhood hero, like all this other thing. And unfortunately, the Kobe tragedy happened. Yeah. And a lot of like the league was like, that's what it was that year. Like, yeah, that was COVID in the bubble year, but the big thing was, you know, you lost literally an all-time great. Like, literally the guy that changed the basketball culture so much. So when Tatum, like, I guess he texted Kobe, I got you today and shit like that. And he, you know, he did a photo shoot for Slam magazine where he was posing like Kobe. Yeah. The posing thing is like, all right, he's just paying tribute. Yeah. You know, and you know, you wanted to, and this is what people get Tatum for too. He did the Kobe, you know, thing with the title. Everybody does that. Yeah. Kobe invented that celebration. Yeah. That's not just a Tatum copying them. They do it in the WNBA. They do it in the World Series for baseball. Like, that's not something you hold against Tatum.
Yeah. Now, Tatum was vocal about it, too. That's why.
Right. And that probably
is. And it's also the too soon thing. We just lost Kobe.
Right. Yeah.
And then 2 years, a year later, you're like, I'm the new guy. I'm about to be this guy. But he's nasty, you know. You can't take that away from him, bro. He's nasty. That's why me with Tatum, bro, like, I'll say this, before this past season and the season before, I was saying, I'm like, yeah, both him, Jalen and Tatum, I was like, yo, it's not enough yet. I'm like, they're not them guys yet. But the last 2 years, I'm like, okay, all the hype y'all been saying, I'm seeing it now. Yeah. Like, me, I'm a Warriors fan, but I'm an unreasonable NBA fan.
No, right,
like,
you're
if you're
realist,
great, you're great.
You need that.
Yeah, if you're great, you're great. I'll say you're great. I was telling people, like, yo, this year should be a back-to-back year for the season. It would have been.
It would have been. It literally would have been.
I'm not going to lie. I might be out of my mind, but I think if Curry don't get hurt and Tatum don't get hurt, we get it back to back, and I'll be open and real about this. C's beat us.
All right, I like that. I respect that a lot.
That's what I think was gonna happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the expertise, and then Jimmy Butler locking in, Curry locking in, both of them not getting injured like that would have been crazy.
The Warriors were gonna beat the Timberwolves before Curry got hurt, right?
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Curry went out, I think, in the first quarter or the second quarter, and we were beating them by, I think, like 15 or something like that. The team kept that up afterwards.
Right.
So he only played like a quarter and a half or something like that. And then we won the game. Yeah. Then we lost the other games. Like, it's like, bro, you can't brag about beating the Warriors without Curry. What's wrong with you?
Come on now.
And the first year Butler.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Butler was there 2-3 years, he'd have more of a leadership thing there.
Understanding of, like, the Warriors culture.
Like, he just got there months ago.
Right.
But it's like, it's cool. Let's see what happens next year. I think we need a big man. I like Post. Post plays well, but he needs to get more comfortable dribbling and confident shooting, because he actually is a good shooter. He's from out here. He's from Boston.
Is he really?
Played at BC, bro.
No fucking shit.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
Because, like, even today, we were talking, on the way here, we learned Porzingis got traded, but what was funny is Celtics got Georges Niang, who's from here, and Terrence Mann, or if you Mann, I forget, I don't know how to really say those. I think it's Mann. He's from out here too, so in a way, it was like a part of the home team trade. The home team is trading for a home team player,
through home team play,
but we've also got another home team player involved. Yeah. So that's why it's funny. But last couple of questions I'm going to hit you with. Since you've been back home from LA, you did a dope ass show down in your home city in New Bedford, and I heard you talk about how important that show was from a historical sense at the location it was, because that location, New Bedford, really isn't known for hip-hop shows. But you also highlighted a lot of young, up-and-coming, hungry artists, some of the best we got from the scene, from Isha, Key, Trill Manny, another former Say That guest, and Elos. Unbelievable lineup. And what I saw was a lot of people from literally Boston itself making that hour drive and then hour back to go to the show and go home. So that shows a lot of support. So that must have felt good. So how do you think that show went for yourself? And like,
well, first, I didn't throw the show. I think there's like a misconception that I threw the show because I was just being helpful with like the guys who threw the show. But Hype Hub is this entity around here. And it's like, the guy Aperture?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's him.
Oh, it is him.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, like the veil of social media, you never put a face to a profile.
It's Will Daly and Lenny Linguini.
Okay.
That's his man's Lenny.
Okay.
Those are the two guys that are like Hype Hub, and they threw this event. It was actually supposed to happen in February, but there was like timing issues. So like we had conversations. I told them to push it back.
Yeah.
They pushed it back, but that lineup was amazing, and that's all them. Honestly, I can't take the credit for that. That's all them. I take the credit for it being, I guess, my hometown, and also just like coming here a month before to help promote and like. But bro, I ain't gonna lie, these artists are amazing, and it like gives me hope about this area. You know what I mean? Because it's like everybody on that bill was extremely different.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, we entertained the same groups of people. You know what I mean? Like one of my favorite young artists right now is Isha. Like,
of course.
She's disgusting. She's an amazing artist, superstar, right?
Absolute superstar.
Natural born superstar, right?
Absolutely.
And I like my favorite thing about Isha is she's unapologetic about being herself, one, and two, like when you meet the person, it matches the music. Like you see like the quirky like energy, but then you also see like this is a very serious person. Then you see she's a mother, like the level of responsibility, like her business acumen, like her timing on things. Like I can only make it here, like communication skills. Like she's just an overall amazing artist. You know what I'm saying? And I relate to her because both of us make mad different styles of music. So there's like this whole thing in this era where it's like, you got to come out and be this first. And then we can appreciate the other things you do. Yeah. But it's like, what does that say for those of us that literally, this is to make these 4 or 5 songs that sound nothing like each other. And we learned about each other's music through rolling out this show, and also being on the show and enjoying it, right?
Of course.
And then like I learned about, first off, before learning about the rest of her music, I was a huge fan of GTA 2. Like, her song GTA 2. Yeah. I like asked her to do that just for me. Like, yo, please, if that's not on the bill, please do it. Like, please, because I need that.
I love that. I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great record. And then obviously like Trill Manny, that guy's
Young
like
trillionaire, baby. That
guy's like in your face all the time, reminding you that he's working hard. Right. You know what I mean? And he's like does the social media thing well. I remember just being a fly on the wall during one of his meetings, and it's like, he gained a lot of my respect as a businessman. We went somewhere, he sat there for an hour and a half on the phone with his team. And you could tell it's not just like he's the artist. He's the label head and the artist. Like, yo, we're gonna do this. If we do, and I was just like impressed because it's like this dude is a walking business. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you got, I know I'm going down the line, but I feel like they each deserve their, you know what I'm saying? I never knew about Elos up until this show. And then I find out about Elos and I see how he's moving with his business, like how he's doing like a tour, but he's doing this thing where it's like a donation payment, right? Okay, and it's like, okay, one guy maybe could only afford to give you that $2, but like he showed like some people gave him $100 for the ticket. You know what I mean? And it's just like all these guys have their own approach and their own way of going about like promoting themselves, but it's creative. Right. And it's like outside of just doing said music and getting these features, going on tour, opening up for this, that, and the third person, these guys are like honing in on like, this is me, I'm Elos, I'm a people's person, I rap about this, so guess what? I'm gonna let y'all donate to me if you wanna come to the show. Cool. It makes sense with who he is. Right. You know what I mean? And then you got Key, like another superstar, right? She just dropped her what's it called? Her own strain, kiwi fruit. Right. You know what I'm saying? At Prolific over there.
I wish I was still smoking. I would have had some.
Those are the homies. Shout out to Prolific
yes,
too,
sir.
bro.
Shout out to Big Eric Lawrence. I love that
guy. So those guys like just collaborated, and on top of that, she does so many like activations around the city. Yeah. She reminds me of like Missy Elliott. Like in regards to like
comparison.
The like. Yeah. I'm in your face. I'm getting crazy. Like you're gonna respect these bars on top of you. Know what I'm saying? Everybody knows like Isha, Key, they're pretty girls, but also like what's behind that? You gotta respect it. You know what I mean? It's not just like this whole I'm a pretty girl that raps thing. Like you can tell with both of them, they're like attractive young women, but they don't lean on being attractive for their art. Right. And like I just appreciate every single one of them. And I'm like, yo, I be a fan of artists from a distance, and I try not to say too much because like there's a lot of politics that go on in this area. So like. Until I get a chance to actually meet people, I just don't say much, right? But then, like, I'm like showering them with like mad compliments.
I hope they all hear this. I'm gonna send this section of the day. They gotta hear it.
They're amazing. They're just amazing, and I think like we don't do that enough as artists out here because like we're so caught up in this competition of like, well, if I shed light on this person, I'm not gonna look that good, bro. I don't care, bro. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Isha, Elos, you got Key, you got Trill Manny. I'm a huge fan of Sabo. If you're not hip hop, put you on. Tomo, you know what I'm saying? The Rebel Mafia guys, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these people are like amazing artists. Hawes, which I just started like developing a relationship with, bro, and he's like he's not a perfectionist, but he's like a professional. Like he don't want to do nothing. Like if it's not like kind of well put together. But like all these guys are amazing, and there are names that I ain't named. Like obviously we talked about Cave. Cave's amazing. There are other names that I didn't name. Like there are guys like from New Bedford, like my man's Pasto and my man's Rocky Rich. These are artists that are like actually full-blown amazing artists in New Bedford, you know what I'm saying? And like they're working their way out and they're both talking about moving around. I'm like, yeah, let's get it. Y'all too talented to try to like do it in just your city. You're lit. Let's go. Let's get up out of here. So the reason why I feel like we have an issue as a small market is because we don't do this enough. Like we don't do enough of shedding light on other people. And I think that just comes from like insecurities that the Boston music scene has given the artists. Like, oh yeah, like don't do too much of this. Don't do, bro. Whatever, bro.
Exactly. Who gives a
it
fuck?
Don't matter, bro.
Thing,
You're good at what you do. You should be.
You know what? And I don't mean to get somber about this, but you know who's really just good about doing his own fucking thing was Hefe.
That's my dog.
Like,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know that's my best friend,
of
bro.
course, right? God bless his soul.
One of my best friends, bro.
You know what I mean? And I didn't mean to get somber,
you
but
good.
like,
nah, it's cool. It's cool. I love talking about Juan.
To tell you a story, because I don't even think I've told you this. I've said it on the pod, but I kind of learned about the Boston music scene in 2017. And the first guy I heard was Hefe because my friend was literally scrolling SoundCloud for everything. Like, it wasn't Stiz. Stiz was still coming up, but like, it was Hefe. Like, he heard the Sips Tees. He heard like all the shit he put on SoundCloud. He even tweeted, he was like, keep going. He's like, bro, you gotta listen to this shit. And I'm like, and I remember something, right? My first ever Boston related show was the Green Room. It was July 2017, which, wow, that's gonna be fucking shit, 8 years already. Coming up, shit. It was, I forget who opened it, but it was Plat Finesse, Lino, Vintage Lee, Replay was the headliner. The crowd was kind of thinning out for Replay, and we're like, fuck that, we're staying here. Like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't leaving, because he's the whole reason we came here. And he was super appreciative. He got like interacted with the crowd with us. He's like hyping up. We're like in a mini mosh pit and shit like that. We buy our ancient free teas later after the show. Then all of a sudden we're smoking outside the Middle East across the street. He comes up, daps us, gives us a big hug. He's like, yo, thank you so much for coming tonight, this, that, and the other thing. Like, he instantly made a fan of me that night. And then, like, lo and behold, like, you know, the years go on before he makes the move to LA. He's hitting me up. He's like, yo, what you doing? Like, let's go talk about some shit. I remember literally one day, I come home from the gym and I get this text. It's Replay. He's like, yo, what you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm like, yo, come through the coffee tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. Like, you know what I mean? He was just that type of person.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean? And that's like, you know what I'm saying? God bless his soul. God bless his parents. God bless everything. It's just a huge loss that we still feel. But if you want a good example of how to act as an artist, that's the guy.
Yeah, man.
You know
that's my dog, bro.
That's
like,
legit.
We had a lot of these convos. I'm gonna give you some information here that like no one knew.
Yeah.
But like we were working on like collectively making PMF a label together, like him and I.
Of course, yeah.
Like little by little, but like we had convos and like he had even drafted certain contracts. He was doing it and he had approached me like, yo, LIPH, like I want you to be a part of this. I want to do this with you. He was like, you got the safe, I got PMF. Like, why don't we just come together? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because there was a period of time where Replay and I felt like we had a little chip on our shoulders in regards to like, you know, proving ourselves as artists around here. But then we did, and we kept doing it, and it kept growing, you know what I'm saying? And like, then we like came together as artists and as homies. That guy is like, he's like the Gucci Man of Boston music. Like the way Gucci Man existed and then everybody else trickled from Gucci Man. Like we got Young Thug from Gucci. You know what I mean? Like all these guys, right? So he is the Gucci Mane of like the Boston area, right? And it's like, a lot of us, like for example, even myself, like linking with the Rebels was because when Replay passed, you know, like Ken Frank is close to Sharpshooter, and Sharpshooter and myself are like Replay's left and right hand. So like I got close to Ken Frank because of that. I got close to the Mafia because of that, and like we started rocking as a result of that, right? That's still a credit to who Replay is.
Right, of course.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, even in passing away, I'm sure me and them aren't the only people that got closer because of that. You know what I mean? Like, he's such an entity and he's so important to, like, the Boston music scene or, like, the Massachusetts music scene. The only thing that's sad about the whole Replay thing is that, like, I know every single one of us that's in this journey with him, whenever we reach, like, a new pinnacle, we're always like, dang, like, I wish bro could see this, because like this is all stuff we would talk about, you know what I mean? Like my last real convo with Replay is the reason why I'm like going as hard as I am right now. He like put a battery in my back. He was like, yo, LIPH, bro, you're my dog. Let me just be real with you. I was like, what? He's like, bro, you rap your ass off and you'll do the lyrical shit like over here. No one's touching that. But then you'll make a singing Afro song over here. It don't sound like the same person. He was like, bro, hit the gas on all the above. He was like, stop feeling like you gotta just be the rapper. And then when it's time for the summertime, you gotta just do the Afro music. He's like, dog, hit the gas on all the above. Yeah. He was like, bro, I'm tired of you. In a sense, he put a battery in me. He was like, yo, I'm tired of you like second guessing this amazing work. Like, this is not bad work. This is not even close to regular. Hit the go. He's like, I don't know one person who can make an R&B song, a hip hop song, a Afro song, and then like write a pop song, write a rock record. Like I'll show him things that I'm like never gonna drop. You'll be like, how you doing all this? He's like, bro, please hit the, and like, so I take that as like my responsibility and a promise that I made to one of my best friends, you know what I mean, coming up. But yeah, we owe a lot to Replay as a music scene in Boston.
And I'll hammer this home as somebody who, you know, wasn't really around like that, because you know, from the North End, that music really doesn't reach us unless you go see it, despite, you know, the fucking Prudential Center separating us. That's the only thing.
Yeah. But
like, once you find it, it's just so beautiful. And you're like, damn, like, where the fuck has this been my whole life? And that was like the thing with Reaper. Like, I'm wearing my Ain't Shit Free tee, which he's gonna go triple platinum off of. I know he is. In a casino in Vegas, right? The one time I actually do good in a casino in Vegas, I ran it up. I'm in my Ain't Shit Free tee. I'm like, and I told my boy, I was like, fuck that. These guys are like make rap look cheesy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the spirit of Horn, bro.
You know what I mean? That's the spirit of Horn.
Yeah, that's the spirit of Horn. The spirit of Horn is relentless confidence. Yeah. Like, it didn't matter. Like, because I know him personally. I knew what he was going through when he would go on stage and be, you know what I'm saying, replay 2000. O-Beats and I kind of like, O-Beats really gave him the name because one time we had a show and he was like, yeah, I might just go do my 1-2. And we was like, nah, bro. we need replay to 3,000. I think it was 3,000. We need replay 3,000.
Okay,
He went
I
up there
like
and
that.
started bugging, and we were like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we need every time.
I love
He's
that.
like, nah, I got a balance between that and the cool, like the smoothness. But during that show, he said, fuck all the smooth shit. He went crazy. I was like, yeah, bro, like, we need that. We need both. You know what I'm saying? Like, amazing artist, bro.
You know, obviously, you know, I love that shit. You know, I just love like the stories people have about him because I still learn more about him every day, despite, you know, almost being gone for 3 years. Like I said, I didn't mean to make anything somber, but like it's always good to remember this guy. You know,
Nah, that's my dog.
Of course,
I'm
right.
never somber when I hear about him, bro.
Right.
No, honestly, the funny thing is the only time I'm sad is when I hear his music.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I love to bang it, but when I hear it, I'm
I feel
like,
that. Like, damn, right.
because I see and hear that exact person. Like I know who that person is. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Genuinely, the person you hear in the music is the person you met. You know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
For sure.
But to kind of wrap it up, you know, we got Free Leaf 2 on the way, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, anything else you want to give a little taste of to say that audience?
Yeah.
Anything?
So like, you know, like you said at the time of this recording, right? So like 2 weeks ago was, I think a week and a half ago was Father's Day.
Yeah.
I got a project like based on like Father's Day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And the concept of like being a father or the lack thereof being a father that's coming out. Before Free Leaf, it was going to drop on Father's Day, but unfortunately in my personal life, I lost somebody in my family, so like kind of pushed it back. So sometime next week, that project is gonna come out, and then Free Leaf 2 is coming out. It's none of the above is what you expect. Is all
Right.
I'm gonna say. Like,
Good.
It's like I don't want anybody to expect it to be rolled out how songs and albums are traditionally rolled out. Like,
Right.
I think now I'm at a point where like I make music and I'm confident in my music, but what I'm working on is the different rollouts and the different ways to approach releasing music.
Yeah.
And that's outside of streaming. Like I'm trying to give people an experience. So
Of course.
both of those projects. And then I got another one I'm gonna squeeze out before the summer ends. And then we got more for the fall and the winter. Bro. I
love
got
it.
like 5 projects actually like that I'm working on. And you know, I'm always working on 5 projects. It's just new ones after the last
course.
one drops. Feel
Right.
me?
But ladies and gentlemen, you already know, despite the different setup here, that was Caliph. That was my guy. He came all the way back from LA. He's been out here for a minute doing his thing. If
Sir.
you ain't hip, go find his music, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to be an instant fan. If
Tap
you
in
ain't,
with me, man.
You know what I mean? If you ain't, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I think you're a little hater. It's all right.
Hey, man.
But ladies and gentlemen, as always, y'all know where to find me. It's REPETE617 on IG, and say that Instagram is say_that_pod. Caliph, where can they find you? I know you're not a big social media guy, but you know.
As of late, you know.
As of late, right.
You can find me everywhere at CALIPHGK. That's CALIPH for Caliph, GK for Good Karma. Those of you who know
That's what
about
that stands
GK,
for. Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't, okay.
So yeah, CALIPHGK on all platforms. And then if you want to look me up on DSPs, it's just CALIPH.
There you go.
Shout out
I
to
love
y'all,
it.
man.
You know what I'm saying? And ladies and gentlemen, that was Caliph. We want to thank you for tuning into this episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you watch on YouTube. And honestly, y'all got to follow. Yeah, exactly. Hit that. Like, yeah, he's doing it. You got to hit that. And you gotta hit that follow on Spotify and Apple Music. Let's get that up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like put it in the hand. Instagram too. All that shit. You already know the vibes.
Mail list, all that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta set that up.
Yeah, tap in.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all know the drill by now. Don't say this, say that. And
Let's
we'll
go.
see y'all in the next episode. Peace.